Good morning everyone. Good morning, Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, December 7, 2021. ट्यूसडे मंगलवार सुबह के 3:40 दिस इज मैं हूँ सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज December 7, 2021। क्वालिटी सेफ्टी contracts, title of talk is same as usual, of course with certain ups and downs, changes, nominal changes, and this is field engineering, life related to engineers and engineers related to life, and you can say life engineers quality. Of course contracts, certain contract books, design and construction, methods and contracts, and of course disputes, and certainly whatever is involved, and that is organizations, communication, and coordination. As usual, I put in my views every day, and today is also nothing different. It's complete communication for dissemination, for sharing information with others. Information, some minutes are taken for introduction, which is very important because people have to know about me, and I have to know about you as well, but I'm not getting any feedback unfortunately. And this is my professional identification based on competencies, whatever I have achieved so far. There's no claim on that, but yet we can say something is better than nothing, and competency ensures that person may be responsible, though I'm not very much responsible, but I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about everybody else. This is my name, my professional identification. This is FIE and Chartered Engineer, registered or enrolled in Institution of Engineers India, which was established in 1920, and later on it was incorporated by Royal Charter in 1935, which is like Constitution of Bharat India. You may say it's a statute. An international professional engineer, that means this institution is a member of body IPEA, that is International Professional Engineer Agreement, and whoever is enrolled as such international professional engineer comes on to roll off this institution. As far as ours is concerned, Bharat is concerned, branch of engineering which I qualified as degree and of course experience is civil, and my email identification is Suraj_engineer SURAJ_engineer at yahoo.co.uk, and you have seen the address. I go to this certification which is valid till 2025, and I got this first time in 2012, and before that I got certificate of professional engineer in 1995. My start of career is 81, that is post passing IEI engineering examination in 1980, and I passed my civil engineering 3 years diploma from Delhi, that was in 1974, and my school education I got through in 1971, and my date of birth is January 30, 1955. Just for your information, and this is Chartered Engineer India, which is, you may say, based on fellow membership. And of course, this is fellow membership. You can say fellow, which means top category of membership, corporate membership. And here is quality representation that I usually refer to, in which these days I have been impressing upon communication and coordination, which I consider very much important topics, very much significant topics for refining personality of professionals and others. Communication and coordination topics are, you can say, related issue. Explain and tell others what sort of person is this. Can this professional move on defined lines? Can this person act in a way continuously required? Can this person keep an eye on all activities which are going to be conducted or carried out, or this person can concentrate, or this person is just able to you can say move in air and does not know where is ground. And knowing ground is very significant, because every flight takes off from ground and then lands on ground. No flight can be stationary in air. It can be airborne, but it cannot be air stationed. It cannot be air taxiing. And station and taxiing are required. It has to require hangar for stationing, or you can say a road surface, and of course it requires to be airborne, for which technique is required, buoyancy is required. You understand buoyancy, or you can say dynamic equilibrium when it is airborne. So what I mean to say, I'm not going to talk about aerospace engineering, but I'm just talking about a representation of that as far as coordination and communication issues are concerned. संचार तथा तालमेल आना उतना ही आवश्यक है जितना अपना काम करना, क्योंकि हमारा काम अपने आप में तालमेल है अपने आप से, एक संचार है अपने आप से। अगर मेरा मस्तिष्क संचार नहीं करेगा तो मैं क्या काम करूँगा? मेरा मस्तिष्क मुझे बताएगा नहीं कि आपके हाथों को क्या काम करना है, मैं क्या काम करूँगा? वही बात है, अपने आप से कम्युनिकेट करना, अपने अंदर की शक्ति से कम्युनिकेट करना, संचार स्थापित करना और काम में संतुलन बनाए रखना उतना ही आवश्यक है, जिसकी कोई परिभाषा नहीं है। You cannot define how do I work and how do you work. You can define yourself if you think about that. But unfortunately, we people do not go to that level. We just think in physical world. We just think in mundane world. We don't care for something else. I mean to say, until we are on earth, we think this earth is everything and material is everything, and how much material I have, that's important. But we don't understand what is this material. We forget that this material is not original one for you, it is original given by God. We have no contribution as far as material is concerned. We have no contribution at all. No even a single particle in air is ours. We have not done anything. I have not created that. You have not created that. Even particle of water I have not created. Nothing we have created except foolishness. We think it's mine. It's my patent, it's my design, it's my money, it's my material. And of course in my body I'm this and I'm that. In fact nothing is mine, that's true. It's not a spiritual talk, it's actual talk. Means we cannot communicate originally. We cannot think that nothing belongs to me. We cannot think that coordination is my job. Every act is done by coordination. Eyes coordination, mind coordination, feeling coordination, communication coordination, or you can say whatever else. You talk to yourself, you talk to your mind, you talk to your soul talks to you, though it is silent. It gives tacitly its permission to you to do this and that, and we do it. So we have to be a little serious about this matter. And I can say, for time being, I close these certificates, so I have to open other files as well. And we can say, I'm stressing on this, that Time has gone there when documents were very essential. There was a time, and now documents, unfortunately, young generation who has no experience in life about work, they don't value documents to that extent. This should be referent, this should be referenced, and this should be used. Document does not mean paper document. What I mean to say document is record, valid record. We don't want to understand what is validity and what is record. And record of every consideration, record of every item is very important. And whatever we study too, that we study books when we conduct our examinations or we conduct our preparations, we prepare for examination, or even if there is no examination, we prepare for learning. Ultimately, learning is a destiny and not examination. For learning, we have to refer to some instructions. These instructions may come from documents, from books, or from teachers' explanations, and we make notes. For that purpose, note whatever we make in class, that is also document. Now it's digital world, something has changed, but basics is same. Information is same. Whatever I need, I require to remember or to understand or to analyze, that is important. When I talk of engineering, I talk of contracts, I can say that, of course, it's my working profession. It's not my, you can say, just profession for sake of pleasure. It's my profession as well as your profession if you are in engineering or in some other profession, that you have to develop this world to whatever extent you can. The scope of everybody, as I can say in contracts we define scope, I can say in this life we have some scope of work, scope of, if you cannot say contract, scope of instruction, you can say you have been given instruction by that power. It's not contract, but it is your requirement, it's your soul that comes onto earth and to develop it. And that development, because how many people are involved in life, and you cannot, if you are alone, that's different. So we have to think of, in that case, about what I have to do. My qualification, say I am an engineer, it doesn't mean it's everything. It's only a measured capacity, competency, you can say. It's a measured volume of knowledge that is equivalent to what you say, I am an engineer, or I am a doctor, I am a professor, I am a this and I am that. It's only a character, it's only quality that defines that one. So you cannot simply say quality is testing or quality is this. We generally call quality person, quality student, quality this and quality that. Something meets its requirements. If something meets its requirement, it can be named as quality product. If I am a product of university or institution, people say, oh, this is product of that institution or that university. This means if they appreciate, you are appreciated, and your parent body from which you passed out, that is appreciated. And of course your attributes come, that's of family, your background, and of course personal efforts. Combination of all this from one point of time to another point of time defines your status of your achievement or your attainment. And it's therefore very important that we have to define quality in very varying ways. It's not one way, it's one way, it's second way, third way, fourth way, likewise. And because we deal in construction, we deal in production, manufacturing, services, education, society, individual, and many more. Everywhere communication is involved, coordination is involved, but we don't realize actually only problem is that. Communication is that part of life which has no basics but your attainments. If I can improve my communication, it's in my hands, it's in my efforts. Because communication cannot be short out. People say shoot this email. But you can shoot email, that's communication channel. But for composition of email, you have to think a lot. When we speak, we don't think that much, just like I'm speaking now. But when we write, we think a lot. Think a lot, think many times, then edit, then edit, then edit, and then review, and then sometimes it takes a lot repetitions of contemplation about matter that is to be included in email, material, substance. We can say it depends on what standard of communication you want to make. If you want just chat with someone, you don't think that much. If you chat on internet or wherever else, you don't think that much because that is just chatting which has got no destiny, no conclusive statement, no answer. It's not going to affect you. But when we use same language, same potential for purpose of your work, in that case it is different issue. You cannot simply say, okay, I chatted. You can't chat that. You have to take responsibility. And whatever communication you conduct, that should be significant, that should be valid, and that should be according to what you valued it. You cannot simply say, oh, I have done it. Because its aftermaths, its consequences are required to be shared and responded, and you can say you have to be responsible for that. Coordination is something, you can say, kind of mathematical equation, not exactly mathematics, but a kind of, I say, how many articles are related together, how many such mills are related together, and these mills are from where, how do you compose these mills? You have to correct itself, you have to, you can say, enter a network and extract out of that work some information, and that work is yours and not internet. I'm talking your own work network. You extract what information from where I can extract and include in this, or I do not include this in this. I have to avoid that. You may say every communication requires to be well designed, because communication is something to be documented, it is to be recorded. And this communication is very much a significant part in quality system. Quality system is not a book system. Quality system is a factual system. If you understand quality system, in that case, we can give quality. Not only that we have to understand, but also we have to apply that understanding, apply that what I think. And it's not personal, it is professional. When I work, I don't work for my personal pleasure. I work for something that I cannot enjoy or enjoy. It depends upon. Somebody enjoys it and somebody says, no, it's very boring. So if you want to understand these two words, communication and coordination, I think there is no end. There is no end. Sometimes communication is highly important, very important. If you have seen certain documents, you will see that some documents very, very light, low profile. Some people, oh, it's ordinary document, nothing is in this, just informative. But some other document which is authenticated, which is adjudicated, and which contains its full force of enforcement, you can say, it has substance that requires to be enforced by law or by engineering or by something else. That communication is very significant. And of course, it becomes a power of coordination. Communication is converted to a network. It converts itself to be located in a network of coordination. And that coordination has no class. Nothing is superior or inferior in that coordination because it is a body. When you say I coordinated this, means you have just worked upon some atom. You can say that atom is a body. The element is a body. Here, coordinated effort we can say, or we can say calculated effort. Calculation is pre to coordination. It's a part of intercommunication of various topics, various issues. So important point is that we have to produce quality, and for production of quality we can say various parameters are involved. In which profession you are working, those parameters are involved. Parameters of common sense are involved. Parameters of communications are involved, and parameter of to what depth you can work on that is also involved. In fact, it's very much important that we have to realize facts. We have to realize facts because quality lies with us. We have to define quality. Quality is not automatically defined. Yes, it is demanded. You can say there's a demand of this parameter. There's a demand of this composition, or what we require this good, this base item to perform. And that you can say define limited quality on that. Limited quality, or you can say unlimited quality, it depends. I have put this in Hindi also here. You can say, you can read it. I don't read every time because I have defined it already. I just want to impress upon everyone that you cannot accurately get quality done without going through whole scenario of work. Engineering is not that subject or word where you can apply directly. There's a thorough system, just like we define quality system. It's one of many systems, and there are systems in everybody's life. Some comply with those systems, some define those systems for oneself, and sometimes we don't even apply that. If I devise some system for myself, I don't stick to that, but I move always, some with this way and some that way. Or we can say, I keep on changing that every day because I cannot control myself. I take it easily. Just like we say control, and it is very easy to say controls. And control is a word which you can apply onto yourself, which is very difficult in fact. But control is base of quality. If there is no control, we cannot achieve quality. अगर नियंत्रण नहीं है, कंट्रोल का मतलब नियंत्रण है. यदि नियंत्रण नहीं है हमारे ऊपर, मैं अपने ऊपर नियंत्रण नहीं रखता, तो मैं क्वालिटी दे नहीं सकता, मैं गुणवत्ता दे नहीं सकता. इस बात को समझना चाहिए. कोई भी व्यक्ति को कंट्रोल, नियंत्रण बहुत आवश्यक है. यंत्र या नियंत्रण, अपने आप को इक्विपमेंट बना देना, अपने आप को दबा देना. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड आई मीन? स्वयं को दबाना, स्वयं के ऊपर नियंत्रण करना उतना ही जरूरी है. मैं कह सकता हूँ अपने आप में एक क्वालिटी सिस्टम है. आपने स्वयं डिफाइन किया, स्वयं परिभाषित किया और स्वयं पर अप्लाई किया, आपको समझ आ जाएगा कि परिभाषा क्या होती है गुणवत्ता की. अपने आप को लिमिट करना, अपने आप को एक्ट करना, अपने आप को डिवाइस बनाना और फिर अपने आप को टेस्ट करना, उसके बाद अपने आप को पुनिश करना या अवार्ड करना, इतना आसान नहीं है, बहुत मुश्किल है. क्योंकि हर इंसान में इतनी शक्ति नहीं है, इतनी इच्छा शक्ति नहीं है कि अपने को पुनिश कर सके. और पुनिशमेंट बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. पुनिशमेंट का मतलब वो पुनिशमेंट नहीं है, अपने आप का पुनिशमेंट है कि मुझसे गलती हुई है, मुझे सुधारना होगा. आई हैव कमिटेड ए मिस्टेक and I have to improve it, I have to correct it. And it is very difficult to accept mistake because I think it's my egoistic requirement that I should appreciate myself, but I know if I appreciate myself, it doesn't work. Somebody else should support me for appreciation. Somebody should say, oh, you have done this very excellent job. Excellent job it is. And I feel happy. Though I know, I analyze myself, it doesn't have that much. Maybe this person is not helping me. This person is just what I'm unbecoming, this person is trying to make becoming. You got my point. ये आदमी मेरे को उठा रहा है बिना मतलब, क्योंकि मैंने एनालाइज नहीं किया, मैं समझता नहीं हूँ. अगर मैं एनालाइज करूँगा, मैं आपको जानूंगा, तो मैं जान जाऊँगा कि व्यक्ति झूठ बोल रहा है. ये व्यक्ति बस क्या कहते हैं उसको, एक दिखावा कर रहा है. हमको ये बात समझनी चाहिए. क्वालिटी को समझना उतना नहीं है जितना आप सोचते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा होना चाहिए। अपने आप को जब आप क्वालिटी में ला सकते हैं, क्वालिटी से आप कहते हैं मैंने क्वालिफाई किया एग्ज़ाम, आपने एग्ज़ाम क्वालिफाई नहीं किया, आपने अपनी क्वालिटी को बनाया। अगर मैं कहते हूँ कि कोई इंजीनियर है, वो आदमी की क्वालिटी है कि वो इंजीनियर है, वो आदमी की क्वालिटी कि वो डॉक्टर है। क्वालिटी का मतलब उसकी कैपेसिटी है, एक डिफाइन की है कि आपको ये आएगा तो आप इंजीनियर बनेंगे, आपको इतना सीखेंगे तो आपको डॉक्टर बनेंगे। यही तो होता है। हर आदमी एकदम नहीं सीख सकता। एक क्राइटेरिया, एक डाटम लाइन फिक्स की जाती है कि देखिए जी, आपने ये सब कर लिया, सीख लिया, और आपने इसका परीक्षा भी पास कर लिया, तो आप इस काम को कर सकते हैं। काम को कर सकते हैं आप, इसका मतलब ये नहीं आपने कर दिया, आप उसके लिए फिट हैं। और वो फिटनेस टेस्ट तो आपका होगा, वो आप खुद करेंगे, कोई और करेगा, एग्ज़ाम में होगा, या वो किसी फील्ड में होगा, या किसी वर्क पे होगा, वो टेस्ट आपका वहाँ होगा। और वो होता रहेगा ज़िंदगी भर, जब तक आप काम करेंगे। बढ़ता जाएगा, आवश्यकताएं बढ़ती जाएंगी, आपकी उत्तरदायित्व तो बढ़ जाएंगे, आपकी कैपेसिटी बढ़ती जाएगी, और आपकी सोचने की शक्ति, काम करने की शक्ति उतनी ही बढ़ती जाएगी समय के अनुसार। मैं कोई स्पिरिचुअल टॉक नहीं कर रहा हूँ, सच बता रहा हूँ आपको। अपने आप को एनालाइज कीजिए, आप कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि आप एजुकेटेड हैं, आप प्रोफेशनल हैं, वृत्तिक हैं। आपको एनालाइज करना अपने आप को मुश्किल नहीं है। यू कैन एनालाइज योर सेल्फ वेरी इजीली। You are a professional, whatever knowledge you have, you can screen it out, you can check it every point, you can audit it, edit it. It's your job. When you do design work, you do prosecution work, you do engineering work, you can make writings, you can make designs, you can make drawings, you can quantify, you can write essays, you can write presses, and whatever you can do. You have mind, you have capacity to the work. This means you can do whatever you want, depends on your mental capacity, because your mind has been developed. You have developed your mind by virtue of education, and you are entitling yourself now that I'm interested in that. That entitlement is a fine one way as far as information is concerned, notification is concerned, because people have to know what I can do. I cannot keep on my mind that I am this. My publicity, that is self, means title with my name is publicity, nothing else. It's nothing more than that. I define, okay, my name is, say, I am XYZ, this is my title, this is to others that this is my job. I is a kind of information, it's a kind of dissemination of for myself, and same thing about my work. So that's another part, you can say. Equality works everywhere in life, means it's in personal life, private life, family life, society, nation, profession, in your network, and it is all related, nothing is basics. Basic is your product. If product you produce, whatever work you do, it leads to some product of service, or it will be product of, you can say, delivery item, useful item. Maybe you are manufacturing some machine part, or you are manufacturing some machine, or you are engaged in construction, or you are engaged in whatever other profession. That is evaluated, that is valued well, that is useful, and it doesn't go just near. Your work is used somewhere. It sometimes even tailor, or a mechanic, or you can say mason, carpenter, welder, plumber. All these people produce. They are professional, otherwise maybe low profile professional, you can say, because they have no academical background, but they work for you, and without them you cannot do anything. Even a sewer line cleaner is a professional, because if it doesn't clean that line, it leads to havoc. Means we have to realize this fact. Work, product is more important than whatever you think. Certification only means that it indicates something. It doesn't give you anything. You have to do something, you have to do your work for delivering product to whoever requires that. It is manufacturing product, that should be quality one. And if it doesn't fulfill quality, you look like it certainly. And it should be shameful for that manufacturer who fails to provide quality. It should be shameful for that promoter or builder who delivers non-quality manufacturing, non-quality, you can say, constructed houses or structures. Quality, as far as I observe this time or for many years, I've been observing quality is not working. It has not been working. Work is going on, work has been going on, and you can say it's very fast, but but is always there. You say, why you use but? I don't use but automatically comes because trust is lost. Trust is lost in world. It's very difficult to trust someone these days. I can't trust even top class persons, top class companies, top class organizations. Because what is top class or no class? It relates to your perfect work, it relates to your capacity, and it relates to you have created confidence people. If you fail to establish confidence in public, trust in public, you may be whatever. It doesn't work. Sometimes I see that product given by very lowest profile person, a footpath vendor who has no establishment, just sits on footpath and sells some small goods. Those goods looked very cheap, very economical, but sometimes you see performance, sometimes I can't say often, performance from top class, offices in high-rise buildings are useless, but that does well. That does well. Because that person works based on experience, based on, you can say, artistic conduct, and because of repetition of that, and because that person has to sell something, has to make something for its living, you can say that person is not professional to that extent, but I consider that person a manufacturer of that item, because that is original one. There is no backup for that person, but there is backup for every organization. But we have to remember, organizations are nothing. Organizations, in fact, if you see practicality of it, organizations are nothing. It's a group of people, and that's it. A group of people, group of staff or personnel, and they work together for something commonly decided. But how far they stick to, how far they adhere to requirements, it depends on that. If adherence capacity is varied, they cannot work to what is expected, certainly it will impact adversely on quantification and qualification. You can say qualification or qualification, I can say quality is involved there, which is very significant part of life. And I can say quality, first we have to achieve in thinking. If you don't have thinking quality, you can think rubbish. If you don't have standard of thinking about whatever work you do, you think something else and do whatever else. How can you move on that? If I think for this item but I do another item, this is my thinking has got no relation to what I work. And I say, whatever I work, if I think about that, and I think sincerely, I don't copy others, I copy my mind, maybe I make mistakes, I'm sure. Even if I make mistakes, I don't think that's wrong, because there can be the chances of mistakes, and mistakes teach me that I understand. Mistakes means biggest teacher in life is mistakes. But if I don't realize that fact, means even if there's some school or university, teachers are there and they teach, and even after the teaching, they think that they find that the students make mistakes, and that's learning process. You have to learn. Learning never ends. It never ends in life. Learning is very, very significant, and we have to do that way, that there is no no way to respond about it. Quality cannot be declined, quality cannot be deferred, quality requires to be done. Nobody can say don't do quality work. Claim is one part, but delivery is another part. There can be whatever level of claims, but if product does not give that, all those claims result in falsehood. Quality, I understand, is your own system, your own mind, your own framework. You define, you decide, you do, and you then see yourself what you have done. I am more concerned about engineering here because civil engineering, which we call building engineering, road engineering, sewer line engineering, water line engineering, or structural engineering, or you may say whatever sort of life is, irrigation engineering, so much is involved, facilities engineering, infrastructure engineering. It is widest engineering as far as original work or original initiation is concerned. Civil engineering, I'm not claiming because I am civil engineer. It is not that. I am civil engineer or not civil engineer, that's not a requirement here. There's no claim here. In fact, I don't know what engineer I am. Why write civil engineer I am? Because I got it passed long back. But that time civil engineering was something different. Say I studied civil engineering from 1971 to 74 and then 78 to 80. Those years were very ordinary if you compare to current development. Because it was not very advanced world, advanced in sense of facilities. We had no facilities what we have today in 2021. Those facilities were very primitive. No calculator, right? People used to calculate using either manual calculations or some log table based calculations. And before my time, it was slide rule calculation. You can say at that time it was very, very primitive life. Calculation was done manually and it takes time. समय लगता है हिसाब किताब लगाने में. लेकिन मैंने देखा है बहुत से लोग थे जिसे आप कह सकते हैं व्यापारी वर्ग, वो उंगलियों पे गिन लेते थे करोड़ों रुपया, करोड़ों कैलकुलेशन कर लेते थे. उन दिनों में हमने देखा कैलकुलेशन की स्पीड बहुत है, हमारी भी हो गई क्योंकि हमें करना पड़ता था, मजबूरी थी. कैलकुलेशन जितनी फास्ट होती थी उतना ही माइंड भी फास्ट होता था. माइंड कैलकुलेट कर लेता था. आपको पता होगा एक मैथ्स आता है बच्चों के लिए जिसे कहते हैं काउंटिंग कीजिए या टेबल्स, जिसे आमतौर पर टेबल कहते हैं लोग, हम कहते थे पहाड़ा अपनी लैंग्वेज में. आई यूज्ड टू कॉल देम पहाड़े in Hindi language. I am not talking about other languages. This is called table. 2 into 1, 2 ek, 2 2 like that. In Hindi we say 3 ekam 3, 3 duni 6. Now they say 3 anja, 3 wide, 3 1, 3 3 2 aja like this. Meaning is same. You may call it table or you may call it पहाड़ा. हमको याद करने पड़ते थे पहाड़े मैथ्स करने के लिए, अरिथमेटिक करने के लिए, नहीं तो बहुत टाइम लगता था. हमने जब मैथमेटिक्स करते थे, व्हेन यू डू मैथमेटिक्स मीन्स, मैंने देखा बड़े बड़े लोगों को याद थे फटाफट, डेसिमल्स तक में एकदम कैलकुलेशन होती थी. इवन इन डेसिमल्स दे यूज्ड टू कैलकुलेट देयर क्वांटिटीज and it was really wonderful at that time. That mind was very active. Maybe we did not feel we did not realize that time that we have this level of mind. Because once you have something, you don't realize that, you don't value it. Then we saw entry of calculator. It tried to deteriorate our capacity because we moved to use of calculator. In beginning it was not very fast, but later on we became dependent on calculator. 100% public became dependent on that, and which reduced your calculation capacity. Writing of people was very good. Written letters were very impressive. There used to be competition in writing skills. There used to be competition in speaking skill. So you can say skill of writing, skill of speech improved. You can see certain records of writing. You can see certain records of speeches. You shall find entirely different. Patience was property of public. Everybody had patience. Because if you don't have patience, अगर आप में सब्र नहीं है, आप सोच नहीं सकते. Patience is required, or you can say state of calmness is required in your mind. If you want to think, अगर आपको सोचना है तो आपके माइंड में स्टेबिलिटी चाहिए, शांति चाहिए, तभी आप सोच सकते हैं. शांति का मतलब आपके अंदर माइंड में जब आप कुछ काम कर रहे हैं तो एक्टिव सेल्स ज़्यादा नहीं होने चाहिए, नहीं तो सेल्स कम हो जाएंगे सोचने वाले. Combination of billions of cells equip you with property of thinking. And thinking, as I said, is very, very, very significant in engineering world, in design world, and in working world. We may say, we may not accept, but facts cannot be denied. Facts cannot be denied, and if you deny facts, then I think we falsify ourselves. After calculator, then computer world started all over world. When I joined one organization in Qatar, Doha, and before that when I joined in Libya and Iraq in 1981, 82, 83, 84, there was nothing as such. No calculator. I'm sorry, calculator was there, but no computer. Computer was not known. Television were available, VCRs were available. We used to enjoy films in desert. Because I am a civil engineer, and because of it, because of my capacity, whatever I had, I was sent on sites to work. And being a civil engineer, I was not very much aware about cities, how cities life is, because I have to develop projects, I have to do projects. So I used to reside in deserts, of course, for a long time. I was in deserts for many, many years continuously, and my work in cities were very limited. I am not very highly qualified, I am only having 1 degree of engineering, and I don't have any master's or doctorate. But I feel whatever I learned in field, it is much more than masters or doctors, because it created confidence in me. It equipped with working confidence, which we people in this country did not realize, and still we don't realize, unfortunately. Going to university, going to institutions, having more and more degrees, I think this doesn't work for quality. Because you keep in your mind only text. You learn a lot, you think, but I don't think you learn a lot by having these qualifications more and more, because real qualifications come from working of practicality. To know what you see in life. I have seen many people who are very top profile working, and I also seen people who never have an experience in field, experience on sites, experience on works, but they can write books, from books. They can talk a lot from just walk. Unfortunate it is, without having your exposure to world of engineering practical experience, you can't explain anything, but you explain only theory or what you learnt in theory. Well, both are important, otherwise I cannot say, but in combination of both is required. And you can say that is coordinated learning. If I learn only field work, I don't know what is design, then I am half. If I know only design, I don't know how to work, then I am half. I am not complete. And if you are not complete, how can you be called a unit? That's question. अगर आप कंप्लीट हैं ही नहीं, पूर्ण हैं ही नहीं, तो अपने आप को एक यूनिट कैसे कह सकते हैं? नहीं कह सकते। कंप्यूटर की दुनिया ने बहुत कुछ दिया है तो बहुत कुछ लिया भी है। हालांकि ये कंप्यूटर को नहीं मिला, लेकिन हमारा तो गया। I see people have lost writing skill. Young people, you ask them, they cannot write. Ask someone, maybe IT engineer, you ask, please write something. Say, write 1 or 2 pages to write for something. You shall never get that. Ask them to explain something, you shall never get that. They may explain anything, they may explain whatever, but not to that specification that should be, not to that precise effect that should be. It comes only by experience, it comes only by practice. Because what we speak in general is not same as what we write. This is a complete difference. Speaking something without analytical knowledge and speaking same thing with analytical knowledge, there is a different expression. Expressions are automatically different. When you are talking commonly to someone, your language should be very polite, very non-referenced. And when you do something professionally, in a way that you are responsible, then you have to think and speak. Thinking and speaking without thinking, both are different. In profession, we cannot talk without logic. We cannot talk without thinking. As far as work is concerned, we cannot gossip on that. I stay on site and say, gossip about work. No, it got no meaning. Yeah, sometimes we can joke or we can just interact for something else. But when responsibility comes in, when cost comes in, when we are accountable, that situation is entirely different. When quality is considered in engineering, it is something that is a mandatory. It's mandate. You can't say you are doing some obligation on someone. No. It's required. And requirement is always very important. And it's nothing you can say, it is required because it is required. That's it. You can't change it. You can make it more better. So you plan it, you do it, you check it, and you improve it. It's planning. It's system. How can you contravene that? Engineer means without thinking, you should not do. Even if you have document, you have to study that. We cannot take some document like drawing and start doing. It is duty of engineer to study that. If this drawing is by itself, that's different. But generally happens that these documents are framed by designers and work is done in field, and field engineers, they have experience in construction industry and they know how to construct it, and they also know how to study that document, that drawing, and how to implement it. That's complete different approach. Design is one part in engineering and prosecution or implementation of design is other part, and both part are must. Without designs, implementation cannot be done, and without implementation, whether design is reliable or not can be affected. There should be no gap in between two, but gap exists unfortunately. And that's why design effects are not known to site person and site effects are not known to design person. Both should know each other. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And that's why we can't get quality. Because quality doesn't know who is designer and quality doesn't know who is a person affecting me. Both are. Quality has nothing to do with that. It's not responsibility of quality element. Whatever you do, you have to think. Engineering means thinking. Engineering means quality. Engineering means use of mind. Engineering means do something logically. Engineering means don't waste material. Engineering means don't waste time. And engineering means do proper job. That is engineering. But can we think? I can say, yes, I made a mistake. Nothing wrong with that. I made a mistake because I learned from that. When I say quality must be complied with what? Quality requires to be complied. But this means complied with something which is defined. So what I mean to say, quality is a part of quality itself. There are many sections in quality statement and many subsections in same statement. They should comply with each other. This means there is sequential approach, one after other and after other and after other. Just like we can say we do some slab work, RCC slab, you know what I am talking. Construction of structures involves many more elements in it. We call it civil engineering, but actually it's not civil engineering alone. There are inputs, maybe not 100%, but 20, 30, 40% from other disciplines or other branches of engineering. When you do ordinary slab or we do structure work, we have to provide certain services input. These services, you may say electrical service, mechanical service, or air conditioning service, or plumbing service, or gas service, or building management service, or some other service, firefighting service, fire suppression service, fire prevention service. Likewise, whatever service we can provide, and these services can work together. And you can say it's not a slab alone. A slab has been given a status that all services are accommodated in that status. That's what we can say. All these must work together safely and for entire duration of this structure. And you can say that is coordinated design, that is coordinated working, and all these are different. There are different civil drawings, electrical drawings, mechanical drawings, structural drawings, architectural drawings, and all these drawings must be studied together, one after other. And you can say not only that you have to study, somebody else is there for you to explain and to tell you what to do with these services, or they do their part themselves, and that is done because it's expertise. Everybody can, yes, I can see drawing, I can understand drawing. It's not that drawing is something specific, and that's the reason when we studied, it was our part that you have to learn interconnected or interrelated subjects, or you may say elementary subjects. In those days when I passed out in diploma and in degree both, I had to study some part of electrical engineering, some part of mechanical, or you can say applied thermodynamics. These were interdisciplinary, and there were some disciplinary also, which of course are there. But these disciplines which were not our system of civil engineering, but these were actually interconnected engineering, you can say, you must know. And that's why I say quality is not testing alone, it's not connection alone, it's a requirement. Nothing is perfect and nothing is entirely imperfect. Nothing is exclusively one branch of engineering based. Many branches are involved everywhere. And that's why quality becomes more complicated. And that's why, those raw, or you can say original lecturers who only start from scratch teaching of students, delivering lectures to them, those people cannot deliver coordinated lectures. Coordinated lecture, coordinated talk, coordinated explanation never comes from books. Never. It is your own book. You have to do it. It is qualification, it is capacity, or you can say it is commitment of engineer, how much they can think. Coordination comes from knowledge, from experience, and from basic requirement that product must be used. It may be structural product, it must be used properly, or it may be some other product, it must be used properly or consumed properly. That's why I say quality has very different role there. Quality is not simply a term, you can say. It's not simply a term. Don't think quality is a term. If you have done tests of some items, you have done quality. No, that is not quality. That is just a part of quality, just a part of this. Quality is total system. Not only your own system or project system, entire system. We have to reconsider all these aspects. I don't want to track only on what syllabus is there. No, I don't think so. Syllabus is incomplete. No syllabus is complete in world because it is defined as mark, or you can say degree. When we say degree, this means it is incomplete. Maybe you are surprised with this comment, but it's a fact. When we say degree, this means we agree to something. That's it. Degree itself, if you analyze degree, D-E-G-R-E-E, means it's lower stage than agree. You got it. Agree and disagree, you can say, or degree. I have limit that I have learned this one, that's why it's degree. Otherwise, it should be my competency. What is difference between degree and competence? Do you understand what I mean? What is difference between degree and competence? Competence is like completeness, you can say. If you shorten this completeness, you can say it's competence. But when I say agree and degree, this is the indication that it's not complete. It's a certain limit. And that limit is defined as first degree, second degree, third degree, likewise. We say bachelor degree, or you can say master degree, or you can say doctor degree, or whatever is that. Means you have to attain a stage at certain level. And that goes on increasing its powers. Oh, masters is better than doctor. Master is better than bachelor, and doctor is better than master. In fact, we have confined ourselves to this fake imagination. It is competency that's required. Purpose of academics, purpose of education is developing competence level in student. But that is not we are not getting that. Passing good marks, passing examination does not mean that you are competent, even if competency certificate is given. Even this I have shown to you professional engineering certificate or chartered engineering certificate. I don't think that this is end of competency. This is just the start of competency. Sometimes people don't have certificates and they are competent as well. You cannot say they are not competent because they work well. This is only a reference that I am saying. It's only reference that we handle certificates because everybody does not know others. It's 8 billion world, 8 billion citizens in the world. They don't know each other. But there are some, you can say, labels, certificates that only declare if this person is not fraud, this person is suitable for this, as far as academics is concerned. So it's therefore very important that we have to realize that quality is a must. Maybe it is very boring statement for you, but boring or no boring, facts cannot be defined. If quality is a must, must and must, then what's the meaning of that? Its meaning, don't think otherwise. Do not think otherwise. Think quality, do quality, achieve quality. Very difficult. Very difficult because people don't want to understand anything. They say this time it's okay, next time I'll see. This time it's okay, next time we'll see. I don't understand really meaning of what they want to say, which is this time and which is next time. There is no this time and there is no next time. It's only in your imagination. It's only escapism, you can say. Oh, this time I did it, no problem. Next time I do best. Why? Why do you think this time and that time? Why should I differentiate? I am a customer, I am a consumer. I want every time. That is important point, you can say. In your organizational studies, or we say management studies, though I'm not that person who has qualified that, but experience is something different. There is no exclusively based technical experience as well as non-technical experience. No experience is effective. Sometimes you deal with others, sometimes you deal with yourself. Sometimes you talk theory, sometimes you talk practical. But what I say, we have to learn. If I not learned, how can I do something? And that's what you can say. If I say this time, next time, that doesn't work. Every time I have to do it that way. We say every time, first time, every time you do something right, first time, every time you say that. Do right something first time, every time. Be punctual all days. Be regulated, regulate yourself. See, regulated, be regulated or regulate yourself. Why don't you regulate yourself? What's the problem? Tell me. A person, a third party who wants to regulate you, what's the specialty in that party? Think of that. उसमें क्या विशेष बात है मुझे वो राज करेगा, मुझे बताएगा मुझे क्या करना? I don't need that. If I am a competent person, मैं सक्षम हूँ. If I am a competent person, I can decide myself, I can analyze myself, I can understand myself, I know what I am doing is right. If I have that level of confidence, I think it's best. I have that level of confidence in me. Nothing is going to fall, no mountain shall fall if I analyze. It's really important word because quality is a must. Quality is a must. Usually I show same clips again and again just to bring something to you from my own thinking that it's not easy to become civil engineer. First of all, let me say that again and again. Civil engineering is that profession where in fact you are not civil. It's not civil. In fact, we say civil engineers. It is evil engineers. Evil engineers means civil engineering is such a profession. In fact, you can't call it a profession, really speaking. Well, you may say, why are you talking like this? No, I'm not talking like that. Because civil engineers means you have, first of all, if you're a real civil engineer, you have no life of your person. You have no your individual life if you are civil engineers. And that's what I can say is a kind of public thinking, public contemplating that. What is civil engineer? It's nothing. He plays with sand and air brick and cement and he says, I'm civil engineer. What does it mean? Because it's such vast engineering. In fact, its maturity is carried out outdoors, in open, not indoors. And that's the reason what actually does it, public is unaware of. Public knows what is machine, public knows what are other activities in life, and they, because deal with that very commonly, they know what is this product. But enough it is not that you know product, you should know its performance, its degree of workability. That's what is required. In engineering we say construction, in concrete is the workability. What's workability of this item? That's why I say quality itself is the workability we have, and civil engineer has a role, certain role there. Civil engineer role is required because civil engineer actually, as something starts, it starts with civil engineering, with nothing else. The civil engineering we call it for our purpose, but you can say project involves all disciplines. Project involves all disciplines, and then coordinator involves knowledge of all disciplines, and that's also very important. We may accept, we may not accept, but it's not question of acceptance or not acceptance. It's questions of facts. So we have to realize, particularly civil engineers have to realize this fact, that you are not, director or something. You own yourself. You have to think of yourself or something. Every act is different, every work is different, society is different, so our quality system is also different. Yes, we define systems according to ISO or others. We define system, but that system is not end. We can improve it, we can change it all time, and we can change in every activity. You can make it better as far as gross product is same, as far as gross activity is same. And if you see, we are not bound by anything. First of all, engineering is, particularly civil engineering, is something that based on procedures. Of course, there are testing controls or something, but those two are based on, I don't think, any detailed experience. They just, represent something for nothing. I don't like those people who do nothing and represent for everyone. That's nonsense. That's why we say we have to be realistic. Sometimes on one project something is quality, on other it is not. It can be possible. But ultimately, as we said in our one talk, I think I remember, you're talking of, I think you're talking of, I don't know exactly what it was. It is white book. Let me see where white book is. FIDIC white book, as I say it in last talk. FID white book, which is the design contract. You can say it's a design service contract. Just like we studied about AnnexSL, it was for, as we said, in model service contract. Actually, I gone wrong file. No problem. We have gone to services, what services they have to give, what we have to do, and it was complete there. But I had another one, that is, I shared with you about my AnnexSL, various files, about construction, about contracting, about, you can say, designs, and I shall share with you. I try to find if I get that one, because if something is more important, sometimes you have to study. In this, let me show you a brief about some important item that is quality related. Of course it is, and it is concrete. Maybe I shared it long back, but this is also a specification of concrete. Just for purpose of quality, I am trying to share some reference on it. It's only reference I am trying to show you. And this is Qatar. Why I am taking Qatar? Because I have experience of Qatar too. So I try to share something I know. I'm not saying this mandate for you or for people. It's up to you which specifications you refer to. आपके ऊपर आप कौन सी कागज, कौन सी स्पेसिफिकेशन से बात करें. बिकॉज मैंने कतार में काम किया है, इसलिए इसके बारे में कुछ जानता हूँ, तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि आपसे इसको भी शेयर कर लिया. हालांकि ज़रूरी नहीं है आपके साथ, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी यू हैव टू डू दिस, बट रेफरेंस इज़ नॉट a big problem in current age, because we are all living in world and world knows each other. citizens of other country and they work together, and most probably engineering is same all over world. We don't have our original engineering and they don't have their original engineering. It's all related or it's also comparative, or we can say we have to. Engineering is something which is not unique in one country, it's for a whole world. Engineering is that particular civil engineering, of course, service engineering to machines also have some design parameters. Likewise, you can say we cannot say something else on that. Let's say in this concrete specification, which is very important, the concrete material is without which you can say nothing can move, nothing can be worked. And if you don't have a concrete structure, you cannot stay in that. If you don't have, how long shall you depend upon something? It can go up. That's why I say concrete. I did it before as well, and in this long document, of course, and I just browse it to show what it contains, and later on, if you have time, you'll see how does it work. So in this case, I can say this. If you go through this, you'll say it's an index of contents, and it says that general. It's general in section 5 of the specification. This is general in this concrete. What is general? And as introduction, scope, reference, definitions, approved products. And then it is implementation. How does it implement? Approved installers, field quality control, rejected materials and records. And if you go further, you'll find that in general, you can see that introduction is given. Likewise, in this, what is given is very important here. That says this section includes requirements for concrete work. This section includes requirements for concrete work for pipeline, roadworks, runways, structures, water retaining structures, foundations, and bases for structures and equipment. And also this part which I am going to discuss is introduction part. This part includes relevant standards, definitions, abbreviations, and requirements for testing facilities, rejected materials, and record keeping. I'm just showing you this. I'm not trying away from contracts. Related sections are as follows. Let's say this section which you are saying, then is part 2 to part 19 here. Part 2. Now this section we are going through is maybe part 1, you can say. And this is, then we have part 2, that's aggregate. This section includes this aggregate in same file. And then part 3, cementitious materials. And cementitious materials are many ones. We'll see what are those, like, PFA, GGBS or MS, microsilica, and many more. Could be. Then aggregate also, you can say it's fine aggregate, coarse aggregate, and you may say 4. Water is very common, means to be construction water, not exactly bottled water, but construction water. It doesn't cause any harm to inert materials. Same way, there is admixture requirement, then admixtures, and of course after that property requirements. What are properties that you want to achieve? And based on that, you can say designs are available. Of course, we can say then property requirements. What are property requirements? And concrete plants, followed by transportation and placing of concrete, because from plant itself, transportation is required once it's mixed and it's sent to site. Transportation, placing of concrete, tracing and placing, and of course then formwork, how formwork is done for that placing, because without formwork no concrete can be cast except on ground, and also on ground you need this action. So formwork and curing comes into picture. Formwork and curing, of course reinforcement is there, so there's reinforcement, formwork and curing, and then construction joints. After that, construction joints are an important part, because you cannot blindly say joints are there. And similarly you can say construction joints and inspection and testing, inspection and testing of facilities. Then we have construction joints, inspection and testing of hardened concrete, protective coatings of concrete, hot weather conditions, hot weather concrete, and miscellaneous. Of course, then we have to understand precast structures. Precast means which are not cast in situ, as done before, and take away that one if not, it's just We have to then go to pre-stressed concrete, water retaining structures. Same way in these sections, there is general and then quality, of course, foundations and retaining structures, then roadworks, drainage works, mechanical and electrical equipment. These are, of course, very informative chapter. Then we have references, of course, standard practice for making and curing concrete, test specimen and field, of course, very important. So it looks very funny, means what you're talking of curing. It is not talking of, it's standard practice for making and curing concrete. Test specimen and field, and then standard test method for compressive strength of cylindrical concrete specimen. Then we have standard test method slump of hydraulic cement concrete, that is slump, and then temperature of freshly mixed hydraulic cement concrete. And these are very basics, if you do not have information about this, how can you control? Of course, there's the dictionary or glossary of building and civil engineering items. Then test for general properties of aggregate, methods of sampling, and test for general properties of aggregates and methods for reducing laboratory samples, then sampling fresh concrete on site. Then you can say methods of sampling fresh concrete site, testing fresh concrete in slump test, and of course you can shape, dimensions and other requirements for specimen and molds. Therefore, making and curing specimens for strength loss. And of course, testing of concrete is sampling of fresh concrete, some properties of fresh concrete, and making and curing test specimen. Of course, then we have definitions like, let us see one by one. Also, it's for general impression, general knowledge, that we should know about that. It means we should know something very well. And of course, we know as engineers, but here's a collection of certainly we should know. These certainly common definitions which are used in engineering. And just for information, I'm just trying to share with you. Of course, I'm not an expert. I'm a very ordinary person, but ordinary or not ordinary, we have information. We say degree Celsius and calories, centimeter, day, characteristics, compressive strength of concrete determined by testing cylinders, then compressive strength of concrete. So compressive is written by C, you can say FCK, that is characteristic compressive strength, and here K stands probably for character, maybe. Then compressive strength concrete determined by testing vehicles, testing cylinders, that is CFC, CLD. Here is FCK for first one, characteristic compressive strength of concrete, and then it's for characteristic compressive strength of concrete determined by testing cylinders. Then we say cube, FCK, characteristics compressive strength of concrete determined by testing cubes, and then FC cube, that is compressive strength of concrete determined by testing cubes. So there's a difference between characteristics and other strength. Of course, then we say mean compressive strength, that's FCM of concrete, and mean compressive strength of concrete at age of 1 day, J days, whatever, and then that's the ground granulated blast furnace slag, and that is GGBS, and you can say ground granulated blast furnace ag. Likewise, we have many more parameters. Here is a guaranteed ultimate tensile strength GUSTS, and the GG is a ground guaranteed blast furnace lag, just like H stands for hours, KG stands for kilogram, KJ stands for kilojoule, and KN stands for kilonewton. Likewise, L stands for liter, and M stands for meter, M square meter, M cube cubic meter. And mg is milligram, and m minute, mm is millimeter, m square millimeter. Months is m tons, you can say months. Then it's megapascal, that's MPa, megapascal, and you can say kilopascal, that is kPa, k mega, and you can say k. I mean to say then we get kilopascal, and you can say MSRPC, that stands for moderate sulfate resisting Portland cement, though Portland cement resisting cement not very well. Again, say ordinary Portland cement, that's ordinary Portland cement is OPC, and pulverized fuel ash, that is PFA, polyvinyl chloride is PVC, and second stands Seneca, very good stand, and we say that PVC is polychloride, polyvinyl chloride, AS is second, SF is silica fumes, and SRPC is sulfate resisting Portland cement. Then because a ton is 1000 kilogram, ppm part per million, micron is 10 to the power minus 6, and micrometer is 10 to the power minus 6 meters. So micron is 10 to the power 6, and then reference to technical study, institution, technical study society, institution should have, you can say, reference to technical society, institution, association, or governmental authority is made in accordance with abbreviations. What are those? Let's say there are so many institutions here, just for information it is. ASHTO, American Association of State Highways and Transportation Officials. American Concrete Institute, that is ACI. And ASTM is American Society of Testing for Testing Materials. Then American Welding Society is AWI. Same way, British Standard stands BS, British Standard, and BSCP and the British Standard Code of Practice. Same way, BSI is British Standard Institution, and CA and CA. Likewise, there are so many abbreviations, you can go yourself through that. Then approved products are there. What is meaning of approved products in this specification? I'm just giving a reference. I'm saying we'll go through this very important one, and particularly technicalities involved that we'll see. Then context specific documentation. Context specific documentation may identify approved products and approved or pre-qualified manufacturers and suppliers of product. And then of course is then we have to say implementation. After that, how to implement, and we have to see rejected, true course, etc. We have to see that certain evolutions are there. Then we have another part of this, that is part 2, concrete. What is that? In that, very simple. That it is scope, references, definitions, source approval, sampling, Then quality and testing, storage at contractor plant, fine aggregate for concrete and mortar, coarse aggregate for concrete, and then combined aggregate for concrete and for floor. Then we will say is likewise sampling we have to do of these, and sampling means fine aggregate for concrete and mortar, coarse aggregate for concrete, and then of course combined aggregate for concrete, washing and processing, lightweight aggregate and coarse recycled aggregate. Then we have to see what chapters are there in general in aggregates itself. Let us see that, just for information it is. That there is cementitious materials, part 3, water, property, requirement, concrete plants, transportation and placing of concrete, hot water, concreting, structural precast concrete, pre-stress concrete. So these are chapters, only some chapters are given, some are missing. Of course, references are there. We cannot waste time on this. That is aggregate. Means we have to really find information from whatever source is available, and then we can say, for example, his lightweight aggregate is given. What is that? Aggregate of minerals, it says aggregate of mineral origin having particular density not exceeding 2000 gram per meter cube, or a loose bulk density not exceeding 1200 gram per cubic meter. And then there is source approval. We have to approve source as well, whatever source are there, sampling, and we can see that. Quality and testing. That's the important point. It's about aggregate, because chapters of aggregate. Quality and testing. It generally says that aggregate shall consist of tough, hard, durable and uncoated particles. No coating is required on that because it's aggregate, the question of bond. And aggregate shall consist of tough, hard, durable and uncoated particles containing no harmful materials in quality. And in that case, we can say we have to test quality of these aggregates, whatever way, and then storage at contact plant aggregate, how this will be stored. That is what is defined here, and we will go through that as well. And what are various limits? That's what they say, limits for physical, chemical and mechanical properties of aggregates. That's very important part, in which you can say is bifurcation, means test methods, and if where is also. Then you can say grading, natural, crust rock, fines, clay lumps, lightweights, etc. All these long list and notes about that. Then fine aggregates in concrete mortar says, of course. Then you can say various properties we should give. And the cost aggregate for concrete. Cost aggregate for concrete, which is also very important item, like fine aggregates, because both aggregates work with combination and this form in after in complete form expressing identity. In course aggregate for concrete we have to discuss, and after that we have combined aggregate for concrete. Combined aggregate, that we can say material passing 0.063 sieve, 0.063 mm sieve shall not exceed 3%, shall not exceed 3% of combined aggregate by weight. Combined aggregation used in New York in work shall be as specified. After that, we have combined aggregate questions, and then this metal passing 0.063 mm shall not exceed 3% of combined aggregate by weight. Combined aggregate condition used in work shall be specified except when otherwise approved or directed by engineer. We can say changes in approved gradation shall not be made during progress of works. Washing and processing is a lightweight aggregate, and lightweight aggregate is very important to define where densities never exceed 2 tons per meter cube. Then we can say coarse recycled aggregate. It's also very important, as we know and we say about this, excavation waste, of course, coarse recycled aggregate and coarse recycled concrete aggregate shall meet with requirements with the coarse aggregate, we understand. Then if we go further, we'll see concrete aggregate, concrete. Then there are various types of aggregates defined in this, that is RCA and RA. Then floating material, how much? Likewise, we have to see this. And then concrete, cementitious materials. Very important one, cementitious materials. Cementitious metals, we can say, is very important one. That is, if you see concrete, Concrete and cementitious material, which covers the requirements for testing and use of cement in structural concrete. In this, we have various standards like standard specification for natural cement and for masonry specification, and then test methods for chemical analysis of cement, fineness methods for fineness of Portland cement and standard penetration. Standard specification. Likewise, all these tests are defined in this. And then cementitious material continues and should be cementitious materials means cement composition, specifications and country conformity criteria, and of course chemistry. We have cementitious materials like Portland cement in combination with one or more of following blended hydraulic cement, fly ash, and other pozzolan ground we have two terms and conditions, and that's are very important. Portland cement combination with one or more following blended hydraulic cement, fly ash and other pozzolanas, ground granite blast furnace slag, silica fume and metacovalent, subject compliance with requirements of this specification. Then we have to jump to PC and shall mean Portland cement and FPA or PFA, that is fly ash or pyrolyzed fly ash. Then we jump to GGBS, that is means ground granite blast furnace slag. And this sources approval we have to see, and then sampling, quality testing. Likewise, we have to go to delivery, storage and handling, and that's about cement, because cement is a kind of very low profile protected materials. Of course, we have to deliver all this, and we have to go to, that is, you can say, how to store it, how to do it. The specifications are available. We have to see water. Water which is very important item, without which cannot say anything. Water, that is, what is quality of water, what is its pH value and permissible temperature, etc. Health and safety. There's water again. And this part includes water used for concrete mixture, washing of aggregates and equipment, wetting of surfaces or ponding Ponding during skewering or as whatever. Of course, then we have to see that how it works, and of course we have to go further. Quality of water, what quality should have this pH value, and then we have to study all this once again, so that we know what is actual one. Health and safety is another criteria. We have admixtures, which are different admixtures are there. These are used, they are included depending on requirement. For the requirement you have concrete, and we have concrete itself admixtures. In continuation, so this organic conversion inhibitors. Then you have property requirements here. Property requirements ultimately. Because concrete is very important part in the concrete is very important part in contracts. So we have to study this. Let's read what are its parts in this, and that is general and scope, references, definitions, and submittals and exposure classes. Of course, in fresh concrete and grades of concrete, durability of requirement, etc. All these. Then, what are property requirements of concrete? Property requirements of concrete are these. We can say here is something which you can say define some classes of concrete are there. I think there are so many classes here up to, you may say, 0 class concrete is cross 0. We have class X0, X1, X2, X3, X4, X5. Likewise, we have then concrete is a mixture, that is cementitious material, coarse and fine aggregate, and water with or without mixture. Then we have cementitious materials, that is a mixed packed Portland cement in combination with no more following blended hydraulic cement, that is fly ash and other pozzolas, ground galvanic blast furnace slag, and silica fumes, subject to compliance with the requirements of specification. And then water cement ratio and mixture. Hot weather shall mean what? It's very important point. Hot weather is very important point here. See, let's use brick. So this is here hot weather, which means combination of following conditions that tends to impair quality of freshly mixed or hard concrete. by accelerating rate of moisture loss, and rate of cement hydration, or otherwise causing detrimental results such as high ambient temperature when shade temperature is above 40 degrees Celsius, a rising thermometer. On a rising thermometer, 43 degrees Celsius on falling thermometers. In this case, hot weather means combination of following conditions that tend to impair quality of freshly mixed or hardened concrete by accelerating rate of moisture loss and rate of cement hydration, or otherwise causing detrimental results such as high ambient temperature when shade temperature is above 40 degrees Celsius. On a rising thermometer and 43 degrees Celsius on a falling thermometer. High concrete temperature, that is high concrete temperature when shade temperature is 30 or 40 degrees Celsius above on rising and 43 on falling temperatures. Rate of evaporation exceeds 0.75 kg per meter square. You have to keep in mind that rate of exceedance is 0.75 meter square. After all, we have to move further. Let's go and see what is mass concrete. We'll discuss it little later. I'm just going to show you contents of this long file. It's about 200 pages. Maybe 150 pages are useful, others not. Let's say mass concrete, which is defined as what a volume of concrete with dimensions large enough to require that measures to be taken to cope After that, mass concrete is defined as volume of concrete with dimensions large enough to require measures be taken to cope with generation of heat from hydration to cement, hydration of cement and attendant volume change to minimize cracking. Reinforcement massive concrete structures include piles, caps, transfer plates, and structural members. Then we go to another one, that is coarse aggregate shall be considered size passing 20. They have to submit all contracts shall submit details of mixed designs to engineer. So we have to do that. And in fact, as we said, the maximum base types of cements, we have to see that as well. And of course, we can say exposure classes, reinforcement, corrosion, and sulfate resistance. Fresh concrete is a very important part. Well, we have to realize on this fresh concrete, and it's very wonderful to be very serious about this issue. Fresh concrete where adequate workability is difficult, where adequate workability is difficult to attain at maximum water cementitious ratio, allowed use of plasticizers of water reducing mixtures may be considered, or alternatively an increase in cementitious content may be considered, where this shall not adversely affect durability of concrete. These instructions. Now we can say that fresh concrete, when we talk, cementitious content in excess of 400 kg per cubic meter shall not be used unless a special consideration has been given to affect for heat of hydration and reduce thermal stress in concrete. It's a very important point. And approval has been obtained from engineers. Maximum cementitious content shall not exceed 500 kg per cubic meter. That's maximum one. And we can say proportioning, mixing and placing of mixture should be in accordance with part 7 and 8 of the sectional receiver stack. Now temperature, which is very important point, that is always this question is raised, but people are unable to respond to, and it is temperature of fresh concrete, which impacts consistency of concrete, and we may call whatever failure of persons. We say maximum fresh concrete temperature shall not exceed 32 degrees Celsius, unless construction testing to verify a proposed concrete mixture shall function satisfactorily at a concrete temperature greater than 32 degrees Celsius. No concrete shall be placed if concrete temperature is above 35 degrees Celsius. Here is a silver lining of temperature. For massive concrete producer shall demonstrate the temperature of concrete due to hydration shall comply with maximum fresh concrete. For mass concrete producer shall demonstrate the temperature of concrete due to hydration shall comply with maximum fresh concrete temperature specified supplier may use in its determination, demonstration, heat sensors, testing heat sensors, and simulation technologies which measures concrete heat up, concrete hydration. After that, we have other part in this. We will see, tolerances and etc. And we have to see how strengths are required, checked, and what is durability. Though it's not descriptive yet, we can see that. Let us know something about that at least, if not thoroughly. Constituent materials shall not contain harmful ingredients in such quantities as may be detrimental to durability of concrete or cause corrosion of reinforcement. Constituent materials shall not contain harmful ingredients in such quantities as may be detrimental to durability of concrete or cause corrosion of reinforcement. For reinforcement concrete in ground, need for protection from chlorides in this. For reinforced concrete in ground, need for protection from chlorides must be balanced against need for protection from sulfates. Protective measures include use of surface treatment, alternative reinforcement or work. We have here protective measures include use of surface treatment, alternative reinforcement, and increase in concrete cover in every space, every case. For good quality concrete is permitted of paramount importance. And then we have maximum acid soluble chloride content in this. Chloride content of concrete expressed as percentage of chlorides ions by mass of cementitious materials should not exceed value of table 5. We have here calcium chloride based mixtures shall not be used in concrete containing steel reinforcement or other embedded materials. After that, if you see maximum acid soluble chlorides contents, if you mesh, GGBS, triple band like then resistance to alkali silica reaction. Alkali silica reaction is most common form of alkali aggregate reaction. Dry concrete is not prone to cracking by alkali silica reaction. It needs an external source of water to develop sufficiently to cause cracking. Where aggregate contain variety of silica, susceptible to attack by alkalis from current from cement and other sources of concrete, and concrete is exposed to humid conditions, action shall be taken to prevent deleterious alkali silica reaction using recommendations and procedures. Then we have as we will cover in this case, then recommendations to reduce sulfur attack. Exposure classification shall be identified based on sulfate and magnesium contents in ground and groundwater, pH and mobility of groundwater. Recommended concrete specification requires terms of concrete grade and cementitious type. Unless stated otherwise by engineer or project designs, all concrete below ground shall have surface protection to prevent movement of moisture from ground through foundation into substructure. Method of protection shall be in accordance with section 15. The related properties are those. Durability of concrete is greatly influenced by ability of concrete cover to resist forces. Same way we can say we have to understand durability of concrete, and we understand that in that case we can help it. Then we can say what are other property requirements, that is concrete property, water absorption, water penetration, rapid chloride permeability, chloride migration. Then design of concrete mixes, which is also very important part because very 15. The same thickness of grinding concrete shall be as shown on drawing. Let's say, after that we have to see what are others, mass concrete as we have seen. It's very important point for mass concrete. Temperature is given here as we discussed before. Mass concrete, it's also we discussed here and again. Fresh concrete, I'm just speaking, this very important point for everybody. The engineers not clear about this. I'm saying fresh concrete temperature at placing shall not exceed 21 degrees Celsius. Again I thought 24 is 21. Fresh concrete temperature, it's not mass, actually massive block, it is major quantity. Let me explain to you. This massive block means it's a major concrete pour with depth maybe meter more, and it's much more than 24 cubic meters, much more than that. Fresh concrete temperature at placing shall not exceed 21 degrees Celsius to minimize thermal cracking. Higher temperature up to 27 degrees Celsius may be accepted with a demonstration of a satisfactory performance of concrete blinding. On this, fresh concrete temperature at placing shall not exceed 21 degrees Celsius to minimize thermal cracking. Higher temperature up to 27 degrees Celsius may be accepted with a demonstration of satisfactory performance of concrete, including mock-up and thermal calculations. Maximum allowable differential temperature between interior and exterior of massive concrete element shall not exceed 20 degrees Celsius. Some point means you can say 20-degree difference. Again I read maximum allowable differential temperature between interior and exterior of massive black element shall not exceed 20 degrees Celsius. We have then, you can say, maximum allowable differential temperature between the interior and exterior of mass concrete element shall not exceed 20 degrees Celsius. Maximum temperature in whatever location within mass concrete or massive concrete structure during curing shall not exceed 70 degrees Celsius. Maximum, so yeah, difference of temperature 20 degrees between internal and external of massive block, and maximum temperature in whatever location within mass concrete structure during curing shall not exceed 70 degrees Celsius. Drop in concrete surface temperature during and at time conclusion of or specified curing period shall not exceed 11 degrees and whatever 24 hours period. Same as this. So slump, recommended slump, then V funnel, box and J-ring. Also we have to see It also says something, porosity of no fines concrete be such that water will pass through a slab 300 thick. Porosity of no fines concrete shall be such that water shall pass through a slab 300 thick at rate of not less than 71 per square meter. Slab is S of slab with a constant 100 depth of water on slab. So it's this, and we have then fiber reinforcement concrete is defined here. Fiber reinforced concrete, that is type 1, type 2, type 3. Contains stainless steel, alloy steel or carbon steel fibers conforming to specification 822, or you can say BSCN 14889. And type 2 is a glass fiber reinforced concrete. The steel fiber is a glass fiber. Contains alkali resistant glass fiber conforming to specification of this, and then synthetic fiber like this. We'll study that as well. And then we have here trial mix. I had to conduct trial mix, very important point. People these days don't do this, but it's very, very important because of so many restrictions, so many considerations. Trial mixes. As soon as the engineer has approved concrete mix design for each grade of concrete, and during or following carrying out of preliminary tests, contractor shall prepare a trial mix of each grade in presence of engineer at least 35 days before commencement of concreting. Trial mix shall be maximum. Trial mix shall be maximum and enter by means of same plant with here we can say, of course, that trial mix shall comprise not less than 50% from central mixing drum capacity, but not less than 3 meter cube of concrete. Trial mix can be exempted if concrete supplier provides through an independent approved testing agency adequate history of concrete strength. Likewise, we can say quality and testing. We'll see it's very important, quality and testing of concrete. That's, we can say, then of course concrete strength, and we'll take this later on. Now we'll close it for time being. Last 15 minutes, that's okay. I don't take more than this. And we have to then see quality of concrete testing, hardened test for fiber reinforced concrete, quality control charts, and work test cubes we have, and what is the rejection of concrete mixes, of course, and then unsatisfactory concrete works. I have to see how to do it. Then plants, it is this concrete plant, or it should be. Then we have here general and likewise. So we'll take up later on. Now I like to close this point itself and see. Catalyst we have seen before, but again we'll do this. And this is, likewise we can go. So I take your leave today and do it again. and this is almost 18 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it's done. You can say thank you very much.